start here this hour. The SA United Business Confederation is calling for an urgent meeting to discuss the Boksburg tragedy. It says it's important to gauge what went wrong and put measures in place to prevent future disasters. Now, 18 people were killed when a gas tanker exploded. 9 of them worked at Tambo Memorial Hospital. For more on this, we're joined by the Confederation's Health Committee Chair, Angelique Coetzee. Ms. Coetzee, good morning and thank you very much for your time. You know, this tragedy has left many with unanswered questions, particularly the decision by the driver to take that route. Firstly, your reaction to just this horrific incident.
Good morning, Bufunda, and morning to all the viewers out there. Yes, indeed, it is an horrific accident. And yes, there's a lot of questions around this. One of the biggest questions is, why was this route taken? Was there a reason? Was it approved? What was the role of the police? We believe that the police station was not far from the area where it happened. Why was there not enough security around the parameters? Are we actually empowering our communities how to deal with such emergencies? We have now seen emergencies as in the floods. We have seen this type of emergency arising. How prepared are our communities? I'm not even talking about the children. This should not happen. Are we now becoming a community where we only take cell phone photos or video photos of what happens without really understanding the dangers that we are in? And yes, it is extremely important for all the role players now to come together, see what happened, discuss it, and see how we can improve on what important measurements should be put in place. The past 2 years, we've just struggled from one crisis to another, and it seems that we don't really learn from all our mistakes. This is really a tragedy that happened.
But I suppose, as you're saying, that it's perhaps also a moment to reflect on what went wrong here. You say that particularly we need to, as parents, empower our children on how to respond or react in a crisis moment. How should they react?
Yeah, this is very important to make children understand what is dangers. You know, what is the danger of swimming in the sea? What is the danger of swimming in a swimming pool? What is the danger of a car or a truck in an accident, or as in this case, a gas truck under a bridge? What might happen? We are so busy trying to teach our children a lot of other stuff. But what are we doing? Are the schools actually doing fire drills with children? Are the schools also trying to teach children what to do in emergency? Are there any first aid courses at school level? How do we prepare our children? Because remember, they are the leaders of the future. If we don't prepare them, this is going to be coming again and again and again. We will struggle from one crisis to another. And it's also important to think, people think that now there was only a gas burn and that's it. Now we struggle with the bridges. What they don't understand is those victims that got burned, there's a long, long recovery road. I have seen burnt victims, and this is a horrific thing to happen to anyone. No one deserves this.
It honestly is horrific. Now, initial reports, though unverified, suggested that the driver actually tried to warn many of the onlookers that they need to get away because he already knew that it would possibly explode.
Yes, we are back to the same thing again. How prepared are our communities? What do we teach them? How are the councils, the city councils of communities, how do they prepare their communities in cases of like this? I'm not even sure whether there's good working relationships between the police, the emergency departments. You know, it seems to me that we're still back in silos. We work in silos, we assess problems. Again, the community doesn't understand the importance because we don't train our children. We don't train the community to not stop at an accident scene, not to slow down at an accident scene to look at the spectator value, but to do something. If you want just to be in that vicinity. You need to understand the risk. No mother should lose or 4 children. This is not on. Healthcare workers, nurses, going to work that morning, saying goodbye to their families, thinking they are going to, have an enjoyable Christmas with them. And that didn't happen. We need to be more prepared. We are not prepared. And here we are asking the Premier of Gauteng, we're asking the Minister of Health and all the other various stakeholders, the police, please let us sit around the table and let us see how we can prepare our communities going forward. Again, please don't only see this as in the light of an explosion. Look at what happened currently or the past year with floods and all of that. Are we prepared? No, we're not prepared. We don't learn, we're not prepared.
And then beyond this, though, in your article, you talk about many being heartened by at least what we saw, with many coming to the aid of this community, be it NGOs, various stakeholders came together to assist hand in hand and work hand in hand, particularly with the Boksburg community.
This is the beauty of our country, sometimes we can sit and we can be very crude and rude towards each other. But what we have seen with the floods, even in this case, how communities reach out to each other. And that is heartwarming. And we would love our communities to work together. We're all the same people. We need to make an effort to not only assist each other during crises, but during the normal day-to-day as well. And we are very thankful from SAUBC Health Committee for the private sector, for the doctors, not only from the private sector, but also from the public sector, coming out in their numbers and trying to help and assist where they can. Because we know the horror is still there. And these burnt victims, as I've said, there's still a long, long way to go. You don't want to see a burnt victim. You don't want to see anyone with 20% or more burns. It's not a pretty sight. So we need to teach our communities. We need to be more parade. We have to do something in all our communities. We need to bring the schools on board as well. They also need to bring in some type of curriculum where we teach children safety and what to do in emergency situations. Because a cell phone taking a photo is not the answer. It can actually put you in more danger and in harm's way than you would ever think of.
Dr. Angelique, thank you very much for your time. Definitely a lot of reflection during this particular time. That was Health Committee South African United Business Confederation's chair, Dr. Angelique Coetzee.